Hi, my name is Schmitt, and this is Team Chicago Challenge. We're at DeLand, and we're here for the AHRMA Vintage National. This is the first race for the 1998 season, and today we're going to be looking at some of the practice. We'll be getting into some of the racing later on in the show. I got some practice here. I got the helmet cam to show you what this airport looks like, and we'll be getting into some of the racing from this AHRMA National in DeLand in Florida.
As we get ready to go out for practice, Chip Larkby's right in front of me, and he's on that Chicago Cycle Aprilia. As we head down the hot lane and onto the racetrack, I'm riding the TD3 250. It is also Chip's bike, and it's sponsored by 4 and 6 Racing, Chicago Cycle Center, 202 Racing, Ackermix, Irving Sheridan Shell, Elf Lubricants, Moto Carrera, and ZP Fuels as we head down this. Now this is a return road from the landing strip. So they tied 2 of these landing strips and the return roads to form this racetrack. As I tighten up onto the Aprilia, this 4 and 6 setup 250. It's a 1988 that Chip runs in Battle of the Twins 2-stroke, and it's sponsored by Stone Machine and Tool, Elf Lubricants, Irving Sheridan Shell, Titanium Advantage, FM Helmets, 360 Communications, and Chicago Cycle Center. As Chip zooms away from me as we head into this, it's like turn 4 or 5, but I made it a single turn, head for the outside, nice clean sweeping 180, and then we head down this main runway. I'm staying off the paint. Oh no, looks like Chip's got a problem. He's pitched the chain on his Aprilia, and he's pulling off. So this is how they used to race right after the war. In England after the war, they had many runways that were used by the Allies during World War II. So they used to race 2, 3, 4 times a week. Here's turn 1. You got a tight corner, 4 downshifts. Get on the gas. You got this easy turn 2. And then this other straightaway, which is about 1,800 feet. Shift up to 6th gear. And with the sun coming out, we're looking at some more practice. There's Chip Larkby on the TD3 250, 1972. Watch this ride on this XR 750 Harley Davidson road racer. I tell you, this racetrack turned out to be quite an experience. I thought it was a great track. Who's this number 9? Number 9, that's Gary Nixon. What's Gary Nixon doing on number 2, which is Dick Mann's number? And it's a Rocket 3 that belongs to Fred Mork. And look at that 3-cylinder go. Gary Nixon, I'll tell you, he has not lost any of his talent. He's really getting around through traffic in his practice. So we swing on the front straightaway. Here comes Chip Larkby on the Chicago Cycle Center, Irving Sheridan Shell, 1972 Yamaha. Looks just like the same colors that Kenny Roberts had when he raced it back in the 70s. Bike just like this. Here comes Gary Nixon again on that 3-cylinder BSA Rocket 3. Those are the colors that Dick Mann raced with, and Dick Mann won the 200-miler Daytona in 1971 with a bike just like this. But we got Gary Nixon, who was a Triumph factory rider. He's He's out there practicing, getting ready for that historic team challenge race that will be held at Daytona, as you watch Chip Larkby come by one more time on that TD3 250. And after this practice, we had a chance to talk to former two-time Grand National champion Gary Nixon. So let's go to the interview right now.
I'm here with Gary Nixon, who was 2 times Grand National champ, basically doing it on the dirt, but you're also road racing. And then when they came up with this match race series where there was like 10 Americans went over and raced against 10 Englishmen, and it was on Easter weekend. It was 3 races. You were one of the first teams with the match races.
That was the first well-known American to go there in the 70s, and then kind of after that happened, then the match race thing started in 71, and I ran for a lot of years there. Now they got this historic team challenge. It's pretty nice.
But the initial one, you guys ran these 3-cylinder Triumphs and BSAs because it was sponsored by Triumph, correct?
Yeah, originally it was like a BSA Triumph thing, and then later down the road, you know, Kawasaki, Suzuki, whatever, just like Americans against the Europeans. And
Right. So over the years, what is your preference? Dirt track and a road racing?
Well, a good mile track is really nice, but you know, back in my days, you know, I liked the road race. They sell those a little bit better. The bike I was riding, the Triumph back then, might have been a little bit better on the road race than a dirt track. Where like on a dirt track, you got to go for traction. Where the Triumph, the way it was set up, wasn't quite as good as a V-twin maybe. So some tracks I just wouldn't be in the hunt. Other ones I could run with them. So I like the road racing where they always had a good mechanic like Cliff Gow, Dick Bender, Kanemoto, somebody, you know, super guy taking care of the motorcycle. What I did was came and raced it.
Right. Okay, well, actually, we should mention, you were there in the heyday. Basically, when I first got exposed to the dirt track, and you were number 1, and there was Mert Rawell, and then there was
Marco, Dick
Mann, Gene Romero, and I always say that was the heyday of racing. I got into racing, and we used to be at Santa Fe Speedway, which is right outside of Chicago. It used to be there every Wednesday night.
Yeah. That's it every Wednesday night. That's your hamburger money, Santa Fe Wednesday night. I stayed in Chicago down at near Logan Square most of the summers for about 4 or 5 years.
Right.
I'd be at Santa Fe Wednesday night, and you run Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So it was good racing back in those days.
Yeah, it definitely was great. So, what do you're riding this BSA. Tell me a little bit about this bike and what are you going to be doing with it?
Yeah, Jeff got me in this historic team challenge, and I didn't really know what I was riding. And Fred Mork owns this bike. This is a factory BSA, about a 70 model. And then Dave Russell's had it for about 5 years. Fred owns it and said, here, take care of the bike and go race it in the vintage stuff. And as you can see, I got the best looking motorcycle here. And this thing is really nice. I always thought they had the Triumphs and the BSAs that were really close. But I personally always thought the BSA was better because it's got a double down tube frame on it, where the Triumph had a single down tube.
Right, and then the cylinders are slanted 10%.
Right, the cylinders are slanted more, which I thought made a little advantage. And then the exhaust system coming out on the Triumph, it had one coming out to 1 to 2. Well, this has got one that's coming straight out. So, the good stuff, I think I got the one now. I've been running around, went out twice with it, went maybe 20, 30 laps. We just massage it a little bit to get it to fit me, and it really feels nice.
So you're looking forward to this historic challenge?
Oh, yeah, I'll be out there. I mean, it ain't like we're going to win $1 million or anything, but, yeah, I'm going to be out there as the captain of the team, and, we got some good guys on the team. We got several I don't even know yet, but other people have said, yeah, that guy goes fast, and I've heard this name and that. Right. So we got a good team there. We just have to see how these English guys do at Daytona.
That's right. Well, Gary, it's always great talking to you. You've always been one of my heroes, and we got to get you out riding on the Team Chicago bike sometimes. So I'm inviting you. Anytime you got to come run the National Endurance Series with me, there's an open invitation.
You got my address. Just send me a check.
Well, the first race we had a chance to look at, up front, looked like it was Doc Batshire on that 34 Indian, but moving up front, 467 is Ralph Auer on that 39 BMW. But this guy really scoots around the racetrack. Definitely getting some good drive out there. And moving up on him was like Blake Wilson on a 1940 Indian. Doc Batshire on that Indian. In 200 GP, it looks like Chris LaCruz on a 67 Bultaco, Butch Sprain. Number one guy in the Honda is running second. John DeMoisey on the 71 Triumph is running third. So watch number 35. It's Doc Batshire. And the 34 Indian as they head down this front chute towards the start-finish line. First race of the day. Everybody's having a great time out there. Also running is Formula 125 and Mark Revlin's up front on the 72 Yamaha. John Long is second. As we swing over the pre-40 class, the premier race, it's Ralph Auer on the 39 BMW going on to pick up the win. Blake Wilson was second. Charleston Palmer was third. Tim Drudge was fourth. Next race we're looking at is this is the start of Formula 250. And the second wave will be Class C. It's Chip Larkby jumping out front. Chip Larkby on the TD3 250 1972 Yamaha. That's sponsored by Chicago Cycle Center, 4 and 6 Racing, Irving Sheridan Shell, 202 Racing. Right behind them is last year's champ, that's Jerry Herman, and he's on a 72 Honda, but the Honda's a 4-stroke. This Yamaha's a 2-stroke 250. But Jerry Herman's really starting to give Chip a battle up front. In the meantime, we swing back. The second wave start was Class C hand shift and Class C foot shift. They started together, but they're now scoring them separate. There is an advantage to having a foot shift. Comes Chip Larkby on the TD3 Yamaha, 4 and 6 prepared, Chicago Cycle Center. But last year's champ is really running good. Now he's on that 4-stroke Honda. I think it's a 350, but I'm not sure what size it can be up to, but it fits into Formula 250 because the 2 strokes have an advantage over the 4 strokes. As you watch Chips stretch that lead. In the meantime, up front, that foot shift, looks like Ralph Auer. In first place with the hand shift is Blake Wilson on that 37 Indian. Ralph Auer's on that 39 BMW. Which 96 is Art Barta on that 51 Indian. But there's Ralph Auer on his 39 BMWs and Class C foot shift. And he's really stretching the lead, boys. Does this BMW run or does it run? This is a real fast motorcycle. Second place looks like Carlton Palmer on that 1950 Vincent. That's a single-cylinder Vincent. Third place like Stu Hall. In the meantime, with the hand shifts is Blake Wilson, Tim Drugage on the 39 Harley, and Doc Banshire on the 34 Indian. And now where's Chip? Chip Larkby. Well, Jerry Herman must know something as he waves to someone. I think Chip might have had trouble with that bike. Moving into second place, 516 is Sasa Valvagolis on the 70 Yamaha. Conrad Urbanowski on the 74 Yamaha is running third. And now coming in that foot shift, Class C is Ralph Auer. Look how well he rides that motorcycle. This guy really goes fast. Carlton Palmer on that Vincent second. Stu Hall is running third on the BSA. In Class C hand shift, there's Blake Wilson on that 37 Indian, and he's really hauling the coal. Tim Drugage is second. Third place is Doc Badshire. Picking up the win is Jerry Herman in the Formula 250. Conrad Urbanowski was second, and Sasa Papagos was third. And now we have a chance to talk to Chip Rugby about his two-stroke venture down here in Florida.
Inviting me to come with on this 5-day Florida jaunt is Chip Rugby, and Chip runs two-stroke motorcycles. This is the newer one, and then you also let me ride that DT3 Yamaha. And so why don't you tell me about this bike first, because you've been putting so much work in this bike over the winter.
This is a 1989 Stone Machine and Tool built Aprilia AF1. It's an inline twin 250cc GP bike.
Right, now how does that fit in the AHRMA rules?
AHRMA allows anything except for a V model two-stroke in this class. So anything goes basically as long as it's some kind of parallel motor.
Okay. Now, who else you got helping you with this bike?
Well, as I said, Stone Machine and Tool is our primary sponsor. FM Helmets provides me with these awesome lids. Elf Lubricants, Moto Carrera 202 Racing out of Cleveland is also my Yamaha tuner, coincidentally. We've got some others, including Shell out of Chicago and Chicago Cycle Center.
Now, you're out there in practice. How's this thing running compared to the other two-strokes? Could you pick out some of your competition?
Well, we've got some very serious competition here for DeLand and Daytona. This is one of the few events where we get international people. We have this particular event 2 international Grand Prix champions, and in fact one world champion, both race in this class, including Walter Hoffman and Eric Saul. I was trying to set this thing up. 4-6 Racing out of Chicago helped me with the suspension and got me started. So we're going to work out the details today, and I think we're going to do very well.
Okay, so how about horsepower-wise?
According to Stone Machine and Tool, we're somewhere in the 90-ish horsepower range, and this thing, it really hauls. Out in practice, it really, really hauled.
Okay, well, Chip, thanks for inviting me to come with, because I'm having big fun, and let's see how you do out there in that race.
Okay, thanks very much, Stan.
Next race we're going to look at is Battle of the Twins two-stroke. Wow! Going by Chip Rugby, and Aprilia is Walter Hoffman from Germany, and he's on the Yamaha. That's a 1990 TZ250A. This has got the slanted cylinders, the exhaust coming out the back. Chip Rugby's now in second. He's on that Aprilia, 4-6 prepared, Stone Machine and Tool, Elf Lubricants, Irving Sheridan Shell, with his Walter Hoffman. And that piano-sponsored Yamaha is really out there stretching. Second place now is Eric Soul, former French champion. Walter Hoffman's a former German champion. Both of these guys have got about 15 to 20 years experience. Eric Soul's on a 350 Yamaha. In this class, you're allowed different configurations. In the meantime, with sound to singles is Jay Cobblestone on the Honda. You watch Chip Rugby running in third place. I tell you, these European champions are out front. This is Chip's third year racing, and these guys probably got 40 years between them. And running on this airport is a little bit more familiar to these European racers. This is Walter Hoffman, stretches his lead. And as these Europeans show Chip the fast way around. Pick up the win was Walter Hoffman from Germany. Second place, Eric Soul from France. Third place, Chip Rugby from Chicago. As we watch Chris Jepson, 47, his first ride on his new Yamaha, and pick up the win in sound the singles two-stroke was Jay Koberson. Now let's go talk to the rider from Germany.
I'm with Walter Hoffman, who is former German champion, running 350s, 500s, and in fact, you know, you're running his vintage bikes. What year did you start racing?
Yeah, I started back in '73, and it's called the German Junior Championship for beginners, we have novice races, and I was starting with 250s, 125, 250s, 125 just for one race, and I thought it was too small and not fast enough, and I went to 250 and did most of the time 250 and 350.
Okay. So what do you think of this AHRMA week in Florida?
You know, I was last year, the first time here, and yeah, I'm back again, and that says all, I think, because it's great. It's a great job what Jack Turner and Jeff Schmitt and all people of AHRMA are doing. It really is a lot of fun, and real races, and you met a lot of people from the old days, and you can go out for real racing, and it's just fantastic for me.
Right. So what kind of bike is this? When you tell me about the bike?
Yeah, this is a 1990 Yamaha TZ250A, and was ridden in the German Championship, finished back in 90 and 91, second and third in German Championships, and I bought it last year because I was racing here in this class with a TC350, an old one from 80, which I won the German Championship in 1980, and I won last year here, but the rules changed and you can use newer bikes. And so when I went back home, and I said to my boys on the flight back, when we're at home, we must have a newer one like this. And 3 weeks later, we had two 250s and stripped it completely and built one proper.
Over in Europe, is there any vintage racing like this?
For me?
Yeah. Over in Europe.
Oh, in Europe. Yeah, I did international races at Schmitt, Belgium, Spa, Belgium. I won it last year. I did Brands Hatch. Then this year is the big meeting in Assen, in Holland. Maybe I will do, because, you know, I started last year. I quit in 85, and I started last year, and I never thought that I can have such a lot of fun to do racing. So I bought me a 250 RS Honda from 98 one, a new one, and maybe I will do the German Championship for this year.
Well, it's great talking to you, and I'm happy that we got to meet, and I'm sure Chip and everybody learned a lot from meeting you guys, and look forward to seeing you next year down here in Florida.
It was a pleasure for me, and I hope we will see you again.
Okay.
Thank you.
Battle of the Twins, Formula 2, Open Battle of the Twins, and that's this first group. And we're also looking at the Super Mono class, single cylinder race class. 2-wave starts during this airport. Up front, it's like 1W. It's Jeff Nash. He's on that Ducati Super Mono. We swing over up in front, and it's a Formula 2 bike. In fact, that bike is 21 years old. It's Pete Johnson on Moto Guzzi. Right behind him on that new Ducati is Chris LaCruz. He's on a 98 Ducati, and it's a 916, and we watched this Super Mono of just Jeff Nash. We swing over on the front straightaway now. Really leading Pete Johnson on the Moto Guzzi. This is Formula 2. It's for bikes up to, I don't know exactly how the rules are, up to 1,000 cc's if they're older bikes. 127. That's Gunther Wenker, and he's on a Ducati, but because he's in Formula 2, that's got to be a 2-valve Ducati. 949 is John Geely's. He's on a 93 Ducati. 3 classes out there. I'm going to try to keep track of who's who on what bike. Yeah, Pete Johnson is showing everybody the fast way around this track. I'll tell you, that Moto Guzzi there has got thousands and thousands of racing miles. They've been developing this bike also over the last 20 years. Will Harding's in second place in Battle of Twins Formula 2. Dan Elders is in third. Will Harding's also on a Moto Guzzi. In the Battle of Twins Open, Chris LaCruz is still up front. The Super Mono class. Jeff Nash on that Ducati. And up front, on that 77 Moto Guzzi, is Pete Johnson in Formula 2. Second place in Formula 2 is Will Harding, number 162 on the Moto Guzzi. Dan Elders is running third. Robert Tex is running fourth. John Long is running fifth. In the meantime, in Battle of Twins Open 98 is Crystal Cruz. Second place is Keith Sanderson. Third place is Gunther Winnick. And the Supermono class on that Ducati Supermonos, Jeff Nash, Pierre Oval, Herbert Burton, second. Spen Vai from Elk Grove Village on the MZ is running third. And Stefan Stuchas on the Husqvarna ended up running fourth in the Supermono class out at DeLand.
Music for the show by Engine Mike Preetz, Intrigue and Travesty, and all of it recorded at Fireside Studios, Westchester, Illinois. For more information on the American Historic Racing Motorcycle Association, it's AHRMA.org. I had a great time racing in Florida with AHRMA. To contact me, it's teamdan45@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from my audience. Remember, you can always search on YouTube with Dan Schmitt Motorcycle Racing for great motorcycle racing action. And I highly encourage you to visit the World of Motorcycle Museum off Indiana 39. It's in Winnemac, 4 miles south of North Judson, Indiana. Give them a call at 574-896-3172. Let them know that you're coming. Find out the hours and your plans. It's a great group of motorcycles and a great trip. Had a great time racing in Florida with AHRMA, American Historic Racing Motorcycle Association, both at DeLand and at Daytona International.